in certain markets, if we're the license holder, then we have to be the importer, right? It's like 50% of the markets, yes, 50% no. And then it is true in the Philippines, India, and Indonesia, also Thailand. But anyway, so we're often having to describe what's our cost structure involved in that importing fee. And so its number one question is, how, can we charge that 5%? How can we, is there any way we can discount away from that?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Philippines in particular, since we had this started operation, we've been looking for a solution to reduce the 5%.
365 review,
yeah.
Find some
We've been
way.
doing that for 10 years, but it cannot be because of so many issues. First, we issue a local invoice, and then the responsibility on that, we have to pay some taxes to the city government, and then we have to show some markup to the internal revenue to show that, because it's questionable transaction if you don't add anything.
Looks like you're cheating on your taxes.
Yeah, you're cheating on the taxes.
So you're going to get run up for that.
And I think the most important one is we have to operate in a transparent way. When we charge 5%, it's clearly 5%. We don't, add up to anything else, because it's easy if you want to, but we Asia Actual do the transparent transactions. That's why we signed the three-way importing agreement, and what's in there should be followed strictly.
It is very transparent. I think the issue in the Philippines also is that you've got to pay your business license every year, and the price of that business license is calculated based on your revenue.
Yeah,
so the more you're importing, the higher that revenue, the higher that business tax. And so essentially, if you're charging less than that 5%, you're operating in the red.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, look, if somebody's going to offer you less than that, they're operating the red, and they're going to claw that money back some way that's in an unexpected way. So it's in an untransparent way. And I think that's the value that you're talking about, is that it's 5%, but it's a transparent 5%.
Yeah, basically, our work also is not final, or it's not finished after the registration certificate is issued. We have to do the import in Indonesia. We have to manage the delivery to the customer, or we need to report where the system is installed.
The installation records.
The end user. And also our form of company entitled is a commercial company. So we are not the NGO or a foundation. So we need to have a margin, and we really use this margin to finance our operation, to cover our operation. And at the end, same like in the Philippines, if my company have a 0% profit, so it will be strange. Maybe first year, okay, but second year, third year, 5 years,
you're on hot seat.
and then we do not apply. Maybe the competitor do not apply this 5% as the import fee, but they will call it as administration fee, warehouse fee, and everything. For us, it's very transparent. Import fee, we don't add up anything.
I think every market has its own particular challenging operations. I think for me, in the Philippines, the invoicing is just crazily complex. For me in India, it's just all the other sub-requirements of the importer with tracking packaging, packaging waste, electronic waste. It's just the list of things that need to be accounted for in India is extensive.
Yes, and what is true for Philippines and Indonesia is also true for India. The regulators, especially the revenue regulators, closely watch the amount of profit, and definitely we need to have some markups over the landing costs of the products. One other factor is pre-importation, wherein different activities are there which are under the radar, in the sense that they are not obvious to a manufacturer, but there is so much coordination happening between the distributor and the importer to get the right kind of PO,
not
purchase
obvious
order.
until there's a mistake.
Exactly, and the mistakes are many at times, and this coordination, we are completely taking over from the manufacturers for them to get a perfect purchase order.
Right.
And post-importation, like Ridwan mentioned, we already have to do so many activities like warehousing. Now in India, Brian mentioned that we have the the pollution control board. We have so many other requirements which are specific to import of batteries, electronic medical equipment. So all those compliances are being taken care of in that.
And we are also additional. We are like a licensed person or a licensed company from distributor to the manufacturer. For example, the goods already need in my market immediately, but shipment is not coming. What happened? So we can communicate with the principal and then try to find a solution how the order can receive on time.
Yeah.
That's very important.
We were speaking about that earlier, that when the commercial distributor or sub-distributor finds out that we're involved in the process, they're often at first very objectionable. And I always say kicking and screaming, but after they get involved with importations, after they get these, they can call you locally to troubleshoot. Then I think after a couple of months, then they're like, there's no complaints anymore.
Yeah, it's almost always the case, in my experience. After a couple of months, they will soon realize that, hey, this is good because we don't have to worry about this regulatory stuff. We don't have to, because for all we know, regulation is difficult. It's always changing, and so many things that's going on the regulatory side. And if I am a distributor and then I can easily recover the 5% that we charge for the importing fee, then I'd rather focus on sales and marketing. I'd rather invest on to beat all the competitors that I can beat.
I'm thinking of one situation. You'll know what I'm talking about when I start saying this. It was the distributor that was raising the biggest fuss about us, Asia Actual Philippines being the importer. And like 2 months later, the same distributor is like, well, this is how, I want all my principals to use Asia Actual. So it went from, I don't want anyone to, hey, this works so well. I wish everybody should use these guys.
Yeah.
So
just a matter of time that soon realize.
Yeah, distributor can focus on the market, selling.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, another issue that always comes out is there's a competitor of Asia Actual who does the independent license holding in the Philippines, and I think also in other markets. They say that they charge lower than 5%, and it's always a question why they can do it and you can't. And I will say, I don't know how they do it, but I cannot survive with less than 5% because of so many things.
yeah.
There's a great potential that I will lose money, and we're talking about thousands of dollars when we import, right? So 1% loss on that will be a lot for us.
And if we're doing that, we're operating in the red and we're not clawing back, then we're not viable, right?
Yeah.
And so then we're out of business, and then all these, what happens with all these licenses, right? So there's a responsibility to maintain a proper operation on behalf of all of our clients.
Yeah, and please note that this 5% is from the export price.
Yeah, the commercial value,
Yeah, commercial value.
not the landed cost.
Not the landed cost.
Yes.
So maybe some of them, they think, 5% from the selling price.
Yeah.
A local selling price. So
No, it's not.
No. This is
Yes, the
every
invoice
price.
value.
Yeah,
And we are maintaining uniformity for them for multiple distributors in the invoice value. If they were to have multiple licenses and each one were to import differently, they would have variations where dealers will maybe not make them privy to the amount that they are charging.
Yeah, I like to point that out as well, as the visibility you get into the market, right? And so if you're selling to one distributor, it's a black box what's happening in the market after that. But the advantage of using a third-party license holder like us is you get visibility into the market. You see where the end users are because we're taking that installation record data and making it available to overseas clients. So that's important. I would just say another point is if we do get pushback, it's from the initial importer that we're replacing. And in any market, especially India, especially our 3 markets here, you can't efficiently service a market with one distributor, right? So even that one distributor is going to use multiple sub-dealers to cover the whole market. So they're probably efficiently selling into their home market, Delhi or Jakarta or Manila, but in the outer markets, they're selling through sub-dealers and they're marking it up 35, 40, 50%, right? And so now you're selling to other parts of the market segment that might be more price sensitive at a higher price. And so to efficiently service all the market at 5% is a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And in India, there is an additional requirement that the maximum retail price inclusive of all taxes has to be constant throughout the country, irrespective of which distributor is selling it. Now, if there are sub-distributors, as you mentioned, and they are marking it up, who is taking the responsibility that the labels are compliant to the maximum retail price? So we are taking that responsibility on us as being the import license holders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's less pressure to
Absolutely.
maybe make changes to that
Yes.
labeling because
Additionally, we have a recall system like that. If some product have to be recalled, it's our responsibility.
right. So we know that that's done professionally. That's our core service and
Yeah.
expertise.